The power of high-level execution is undeniable when it comes to getting more shit done as you're building your business. One of the problems that so many business owners face, and not just business owners, but also salespeople or team members within your organization, is the challenge of how do you actually step into proactivity? For example, how do you avoid turning up, sitting down at your desk, and going through emails or responding to Slack notifications for 24 hours a day, and they're literally just doing nothing productive in your business? So in this video, I'm going to break down the 3 different types of actions that you could be taking and how to actually shift your energy towards being more proactive, and some of the actual mindset lessons of how you can make this happen. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name's Jamie Atkinson. I'm a founder of needaguest.com. We're a company that helps business owners doing over 6 figures a year, all the way up to multiple millions of dollars a month, helping them to get booked on more podcasts, but also making sure that they're getting customers and clients from those podcasts and making more money. Now, on this channel, I'm really focusing on bringing you the tactical lessons, but also understanding some of the mindset behind what it takes and documenting our journey from taking our business from $0 to $100,000 a month in 2 years, and now documenting the journey from $100,000 all the way up to our goal of $1 million a month. Now, let's get into the video. So the first thing I want to explain to you is the 3 different types of actions. And this actually happened to me around about 2, maybe 3 years ago now. I was working with a mentor, and I signed up to work with him. It was a reasonable amount per month. He wasn't super expensive at the time. And I hired him because I wanted to grow in my business. Shocker, I know. It's a weird thing for us to do as business owners. And one of the things that he helped me to understand was this idea of the 3 different types of actions. You've got proactivity, you've got reactivity, and then you've got inactivity. What was happening is he was giving me homework assignments, things that I needed to do, and what he was finding was that when I showed up to the coaching call the next week, there was just a bunch of shit that I hadn't done. And when I told him the reasons why I wasn't getting this stuff done, I would list a bunch of reasons. I would say, hey, I was being really reactive, and Slack was blowing up for me. I had some client problems I needed to deal with. And then a whole bunch of time, I just did nothing, right? I just sat there, couldn't really get to productive, maybe went off and took a long extended lunch break. Maybe after lunch, I actually just went into my room and maybe played on the PlayStation, right? And I just didn't get a whole lot done. And so this was happening time and time and time again. And he actually sat me down and he said, hey, Jamie, I want you to understand something. Talk me through how you're planning your day. And so I would sit down and I would say, well, this is usually what I would do. I would go into my office. I would sit at my computer. I would be there typing things in on my desk, on my little keyboard. And one of the things that I would do is I had this beautiful little notebook that was beside me. And I would write in the notebook my list for the things that I wanted to get done in that day. And he said, well, how many things were you writing in that list? And I said, well, I actually have a running list of like 40 items. And every day I would add new things to this list. And so what happened was I had this big list of activities of multiple things that I just wasn't getting done. And I was adding to that list all the time. And so one of the things that he said is, Jamie, I want to ask you a question. If somebody tells you, hey, I'm going to be, in your calendar, and I'm going to come and see you on Tuesday at 5 p.m. And Tuesday rolls around, and they don't show up. And then they say, hey, I'm actually going to come on Wednesday now, but I'm going to come at 6 p.m. instead because 5 p.m. didn't work for me and, it wasn't working out. And then they didn't show up. And then, hey, I'm actually, couldn't make that one either, so I'm going to come on Thursday, but I'm going to come at 1 p.m. a bit earlier, and they didn't show up. How fucking likely are you to trust this person the next time they tell you anything? I'm going to show up this, you're not going to trust them, you're not going to believe them, because for multiple times in a row, they told you something and they didn't live up to that word, right? So what happens? You don't trust that they are going to execute on that thing. And the thing is, every time you write a list and you write down the things that you're going to do, if you do not tick those things off that list or cross those things off the list every single day, are you building trust in yourself or are you building distrust? As in, When I say to myself, hey, Jamie, it's Monday and I'm going to get these 3 things done, does my subconscious mind believe me when I say these are the items that I'm going to get done? Or does it not believe me and therefore then tries to protect my ego and stay in alignment with what it knows to be true? Long story short, if you have lots of things on your to-do list and you are not getting them done every day, you are teaching your subconscious mind that you are a liar. You said to yourself, I'm going to do this. You made a commitment. You wrote it down on a piece of paper. You wrote it down on a list. And then you didn't fucking do it. And when that happens, you are teaching your subconscious mind that you cannot be trusted. Now, the great news about all of this is this can be easily changed in a very short space of time. If any of you have ever heard of the 75 Hard program by Andy Frisella, one of the things that you might know is that it is a workout program, right? You're going to go in on 75 Hard and you're going to do 2 workouts a day. You're going to drink like a gallon of water. You're going to read 10 pages of a book every single day. You're going to like follow a diet. There's a bunch of shit that it makes you do, and you have to post a picture every day. And you do that every day for 75 days in a row. Now, if you don't do that for just one day, let's say you miss one thing, like you don't take a picture of yourself, like a progress picture, then it resets back to day 0. So it doesn't matter if you're on day 70, you've only got 5 days left. If you miss one of those things, it resets and you start all over from the beginning again. Now, most people think this is a workout program. That's actually not the case. This is a mental resilience program. And it is based on the foundation of what I'm telling you above, which is when you commit to doing something and then you repeatedly follow through on that action, what happens is that your subconscious mind says, this person is telling the truth. When they say they're going to do something, they actually get it done. And this is the foundation of how you can actually start to change and shift your energy from being a reactive person or an inactive person to becoming proactive. So what is the strategy here? Well, the first thing that you want to do is if you ever sit down and you've got a giant list of things you need to do, if you've got a whiteboard on the wall with all the projects that you need to get done, you need to get rid of all of that shit immediately and you need to start fresh. Here's what I do. Every single day, I sit down with a sticky notepad and I write down, here's what I'm going to do. And with a sticky notepad, I am just going to write down a maximum of 3 things. And to be fair, if I don't think I can get all 3 things done, I'll write 2 things. And so on a little sticky pad, you're going to literally write 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to pick 2 or 3 highly meaningful activities that are going to move you forward in your business. And so for me, one of the activities I might write is I'm going to write maybe a daily email. I'm going to go in and get booked on a podcast, and then maybe I'm going to work on some kind of project such as filming this video, right? And so I go in and I get those 3 things done as fast as possible. Now, the quicker, and I can't emphasize this enough, the quicker you get these activities done, the more powerful your brain and your subconscious mind is going to believe you when you say, I'm going to go do meaningful shit. It's really important here that you don't just put placeholder activities. You know, if you're, for example, saying, I'm going to check Slack from my team, right? That is a shitty action item to put on this list. So what this also forces you to do is to focus on, okay, what are the 1 or 2 really meaningful activities that I can actually work on? In fact, this is one of the really big things that we do inside of our Media Firestorm program. When we work with clients inside of Media Firestorm, one of the biggest things that we get them to focus on is, first of all, in the first 30 days, executing on 2 actions that we know to be massively impactful with making more sales. Getting booked on podcasts every day and also sending a daily email. But after the first 30 days, we'll actually sit down with them, and every 30 days we'll look at the metrics in their business and we'll say, what are the 1 or 2 bottlenecks that are slowing them down from growth? For a really good example, Janae, one of our clients, she sat down on one of these meetings with us one day, and we saw that she'd had 893 people landing on her application funnel to book a call with her, and yet only 3 people actually booked. I can't even tell you the statistic of how poor that is, but it is way, 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 way below the industry average. The industry average is about a 10% conversion rate. Our current funnel converts at 15%. And she was about 50 to 100 times off the average there. And so we sat down and we said, if you do nothing else but one thing, which is fix this page, you are going to massively increase the amount of book calls in your business. To be fair, she probably would receive a 25 to a 50x increase in booked calls, which would take her from 4 calls to 100 fucking calls a month in her business. Do you think that would have a meaningful impact on the revenue in her business? Massive. But how long do you think it took her to actually fix that problem? Well, a month later, I checked in with her, and she had only just completed that activity. Now, imagine you sit down and you have that sticky note, and you look at this and you say, what is the number one most important thing that is slowing my business growth down? Well, it's this landing page. If she just had one item on that page, which is create a Calendly link, and then once she completes that, it's like, fix the headline of that Calendly, right? That's one item for one day. Day 3, write a really good description on that Calendly, all right? And day 4, plug it into my fucking website. Change it so that instead of going to the landing page, it goes to this link. Do you think realistically she could have got all that done in 4 days? Well, yes, if she followed a system like this, but unfortunately what ended up happening was a lot of this, a lot of reactivity, a lot of things getting in the way. So reprogramming this is absolutely giant in terms of helping you to execute. And one of the things that you want to do is really just make sure that you're getting into the habit of following through on what you say you're going to do. Now, this also translates into your personal life, and it really, what we're talking about here is not overcommitting to yourself. What we want to do is we want to build trust back with your subconscious mind so that you can get more activities done. Now, in a separate video, I'm actually going to talk more about reasons, and this is something I just learned from a mastermind I went to from a guy called Jeremy Haynes, where he talked about the fact that if you want to grow in business and you want to make more money, you have to have a clear set of reasons as to why you need to make more money, but also the reasons why you need to grow the business to the level that you need to grow. And a lot of those reasons are going to be personal, they're going to be money-oriented, they're going to be status-oriented, and it's actually what gets you out of bed to do the shit that you need to do. But this is one of the most important things that I've ever learned about being able to step into activity and proactivity and to get more shit done is really just about following through on the commitments that you can make to yourself. So to recap this video, if you want to get more into the proactivity stage where you can actually sit down, start your day and get more shit done, what this really is, it's about having a level of commitment with yourself. It's about saying, I'm going to do the things that I say I'm going to do. Which isn't what that says. Do the things I will do. Do the things I will say that I'm going to do. Right? It is about commitment. And commitment comes not in giant promises or goals, but it comes in the micro commitments that we make every single day. And this isn't about commitments to your team, to your family, to your partner, to your clients, to anybody. It's about the commitment you make with yourself in following through on your actions. So we want to do the things that we say that we're going to do, and we're going to do this by sitting down, getting rid of bullshit lists that are just derailing us, and instead just write 1 to 3 things every day and make sure that we follow through and do those activities. And I want you to do that for at least 7 days in a row. And after you do that, I want you to do it then for 30 days in a row. And what I can promise you is that when you do this and you take this action and you actually follow through on the things that we're talking about, you are going to see a drastic difference in the results that you get inside of your business. And I fully recommend that you guys follow through and take this course of action. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Go do the shit that you need to do in order to grow the business. And I hope that you can get out of reactivity and inactivity and into proactivity using these simple tips. Appreciate you guys. Hope you enjoy these videos. Give it a like if you liked it. If you want to hear more, you can subscribe. And we'll see you on the next video. Take care. Bye now.